In my future classroom, I imagine an energetic environment where students are invited to grow in all aspects of life. When I see my future classroom, I look back at what some of my favorite teachers have done and try to take different ideas from all of them. I believe that an upbeat tempo in a classroom can prove to be a great resource and can lead to students having a growing interest and desire to learn. To accomplish this, organization is key. I believe students thrive off organization and routine and need the feeling of comfort with knowing that they must be doing at all times. I want to have everything set up where they can quickly learn the system of my classroom and thus know what is expected of them without having to even think about it. This requires strong organizational tactics that I will use all day, every day. There is no time to waste in the school day, and every minute counts, so I will enforce quick and up-tempo transition periods by using many different classroom management skills on a daily routine. A main idea will need to have for my students to understand from the start is that I want them to feel comfortable and safe talking with me about anything that may be bothering them or they do not understand. But they also will know that whatever I say goes. I will respect them when they are speaking, and they need to do the same with me. So when I am giving directions, they're expected to follow them so that we can create the best learning atmosphere possible. I'm not worried about my students moving around in the classroom as long as they are respecting the rules and doing what is expected of them. I will let them know early in the year that we can have a great time together as long as we are open with each other and respect each other. I want my classroom to be full of exploration. I feel this creates a wandering environment where students actually want to be there and learn. I want them to feel that wherever they look creates an idea that they can further explore, starting with my classroom library. I know creating a top-notch library can take a while, but I just want to make sure that I always have a variety of reading materials at hand. Books that range from all different topics to all different skill levels. Exciting books, mysteries, scary stories, to books full of information that range in topics that children actually want to learn. Getting a child to love to read is one of the best skills we can give them for the rest of their life. Also, I want students to learn from their peers about books that might interest them. I want to have a bulletin board known as our graffiti board. This is where students can post what they liked or learned from a certain story, and other students can look at the board to get ideas for what book they might want to read next. Peer-to-peer information seems very effective to me, and I want to give this a chance. Another belief I have for my classroom is that ideas should be coming from all around. I believe having posters around the room with new and old knowledge can keep a student building on ideas and even help them through times when they are having trouble with a certain task. I want them to constantly be reminded that help is all around them whenever they need a little. I do not expect my students to remember everything they have learned, so prompting posters here and there can play a big role in keeping them on task and away from over-frustration. Of course, I want them to be on the time working at a bit out of their comfort zone because this leads to improvements. Challenges are what lead to gains in all aspects of life, and I want them to feel a bit challenged at almost all times. If they have something they just cannot get past, that is when I am there for. But I do not want to take the challenge away from them, just help walk them through it towards overall gains. I must always understand where a student is in their zone of development to best implement this method, so I must always be aware of my students. I believe different teaching strategies is a must in any classroom, and teachers must be flexible and willing to change for each student. All students are different, so why should I ever believe to teach them as if they are all the same? I will be open to feedback from my students and even try to get it from others where I can. My teaching strategies need to be tentative and always open to change. I feel that if I teach with enthusiasm and interest in whatever I am teaching, the students might feed off this and become interested as well. I'm a huge believer in getting the students to be interactive and most of the time even moving during lessons, because I believe this keeps them from getting bored and disinterested as easily. But I know not all lessons can be this way. Sometimes we just have to learn boring things. This is where I need to respect my students to get through it the best we can, together, and hopefully they realize that the easier we get through it, the quicker we can get back to a more enjoyable lesson or activity. With that being said, I want to implement reading into our day as much as possible. This can happen in a way appealing to students, as long as I use different methods or tactics for how we go through our reading. Also, by reading multiple times a day, I believe I have a much bigger sample area for assessment information. When reading as a class, I not only have to listen for content, but also see comprehension taking place. By doing this for each reading, I am able to understand where a student is and even have chances to make minor adjustments and improvements on the fly. The more chance for improvement, the better off a child is. In my classroom, I want to lead by example and set them up for whatever life may throw at them. I want my students to improve educationally from me, of course, but I also want them to see how life they can live life to the best they can. I want my students to understand how much fun life can be. I want to build on their citizenship qualities as well as their people skills so that they are able to move through life knowing that they can be whatever they want and understand the steps it takes to get there. Most importantly, I want my students to understand learning and gaining knowledge can come from anywhere. Not just schools and teachers, but from the people and the world around them, as long as they keep exploring in life.